Welcome everyone to my blog guest hangout in December. And we have several people here, and feel free to join in. I will post the links so that you can all grab those last 5 spots in our hangout. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves. And Phil, I'll be nice to you, and I'll put you last since you're on the right from last time. And Leigh, I'm going to put you on the spot and let you introduce yourself first.
Well, I am Leigh, also known as Dangerously, actually widely known as Dangerously. Nobody even knows who Leigh is. I am the owner of Dangerously.biz.
Excellent. Gerald, I'm going to skip me and go to you.
Okay, you're skipping yourself and going to me, is that what you said?
Yeah, is that nice?
Oh, that is very nice of you. Yeah, I'm Gerald Weber, and I'm president of Search Engine Marketing Group in Houston, and also I'm helping, or I guess you say, partners with Ann Smarty on Viral Content Buzz, which is the free platform that helps you with social media promotions on your quality content, such as quality guest blog posts and things of that nature.
Excellent. And Justin?
I am Justin from Houston, and I am the owner of VividSEM.com. And this is my second visit to this chat.
Justin's actually a friend of mine, you guys, so be nice to him.
Be nice to me.
I'll really try. And Phil?
I'm Phil Turner from Cork in Ireland. I am a moderator for the forum post on MyBlogGuest. I have a website, but it's no big deal. 21cwoman.com.
I like your website, especially all the articles on chocolate.
Well, it's been undergoing a redesign at the moment, so it's a bit of a mess. But yeah, it'll get there.
That's okay. We all need to do that sometimes. You got me curious, Phil. You mentioned a byline policy. Especially the bylines that, years ago you used the same byline. You could just, now with the SEO and everything, the concern about the duplicate content and having to change it each time.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of bylines. I did 50 this morning. And they're not in line with what Anne wants, but they're in line with what the publisher, what the guy who's paying me wants. And that's the contradiction that we're working with all the time. The members have got their instructions from people who are paying them, and they conflict with what my blog guests thinks is good linking policy. For example, having 2 links to the same site, which looks a bit pushy. Whereas it is clear that if we have 2 links, they should be to different sites, not just different pages on the same site. But the people who are paying the MyBlogGuest members don't understand.
Oh, I think we had a Google glitch.
I think Phil froze there, didn't he?
Yep, Phil froze. Or I should say Google froze. I'm sure Phil didn't freeze.
Yeah, Phil's probably still moving around. It's just this camera or the platform. Well, we're talking about. Are we talking about bylines? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just. I guess Phil was kind of mid thought there. I don't know. What was he? He was talking about excessive linking to the same site from the byline. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I think he was talking about how some of the writers that are employed, the companies, the employers that have a different view than possibly my blog guest as far as guidelines.
Yeah, now as far as I know, that's not against the guidelines. I think he's just saying it makes it look a bit too self-serving.
Probably, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he was mid-thought, so I was still trying to process what he was saying there, but yeah, I think the main key is if it looks like you're just trying to link back to the same site, especially if you have exact match anchor text, it just looks kind of, just kind of over the top. Like if that's your only concern, it cheapens the whole deal. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. We were trying to complete your thought, Phil. As much as we could.
We were trying to guess the rest of your thoughts, actually.
Yeah, no, you're right there. I just got a red flash network difficulty. And then it closed down on me.
So what were you saying about the byline, Phil?
That's if you have two links, they should at least be to different sites, not just to different pages.
Or to a Twitter or a Google Plus page or something like that, right?
Well, ideally, yes. Ideally, it would just be one link plus your G Plus link.
Yeah, like a link to your website and G Plus. Now, I know there's an anchor text guideline, no more than one anchor text link. Now, as far as I know, now you are allowed to link more than once to the same site, but you're just saying it doesn't look good. Is that correct? I mean, that's not actually against guidelines, but it just looks over self-serving. Is that correct?
It depends. It's allowed, but it is against the guidelines. Guidelines say one link, but we are flexible in that we allow two at the moment. That will probably change at some point.
As long as they're not both, as long as they don't both have anchor text, right? One of them would have to be branded, let's say, like www.domain.com, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, yeah. Because, Google's been kind of after too much anchor text as part of its recent.
I think we need to try and get ahead of Google. If we think it could possibly be construed as over-promotional, then sooner or later Google will say that's over-promotional.
Sure.
I like what you said. I like get ahead of Google. That's good.
Yeah, get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that's right. Because
and I
these
doubt
blog posts are going to be there for a long time.
And I doubt Google will ever say, you know what, you're just linking to your Google Plus page too much. I doubt Google will ever say that. So I think if you were doing something like link it to your Google Plus page and then one link to the site you're promoting, that seems like that would be pretty, or Twitter, but more so Google Plus. I think that seems like that would be a pretty safe and comfortable way to go.
It's funny, Gerald, you say that, because I was just thinking that as far as getting ahead of Google, at what point would they not want their own links as far as the Google Plus?
They're not going to say, you know what, you're linking to Google Plus too much in your guest posts. We don't like that, because they're actually promoting that. They want you to link to Google Plus, and that's part of the whole new authorship thing that they're doing. I think that seems like that would be a very safe way to, as Phil said, kind of get ahead of Google there, get ahead of the curve.
I was actually having problems with my Google Plus link, and somebody corrected it. I'm going to put the correct one up at the side here. But what I was doing was missing off the rel equal question mark, rel equals author at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect that a lot of other people are doing the same.
We've been covering that a lot too during the MyBlogGuest Twitter chats.
Sorry, I don't do Twitter.
That's okay. It's a good reminder. I think I did look it up. Hi, John. Welcome.
Hi, John.
Yeah, for a while there, I would have to Google or go look up one of the Twitter chats to make sure I was doing that correctly.
Well, I'm always missed something, missed out on the Twitter chat, but I can usually find things with a higher priority on the afternoon than that.
Now, throwing in the Google Plus profile within the bios, that made me feel like I was going like one link too many, because I used to always do the Twitter and then my website. But in order to really get the credentials, you need to have that Google Plus. It's like, do you drop the Twitter? Do you drop the website? Do you have all three?
Most people put one, and the very most two. I found one guy who put 4 different profile links. So I just left a note saying it was slightly over the top, because people will get upset. Whether it's logical or not, people will get upset and just refuse the article.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people return articles because they have too many authority links. You know, you've got a 600-word article and it's got 4 authority links in it, and some bloggers will just refuse the article saying too many links.
Phil, that actually brings up a good point that I was wondering about recently. Now, would it be okay to do, say, two profile links and 1 link to your website or blog? Like, say, 1 link to your site, then let's say a Google Plus and then a Twitter. That's 3 links. I know it's like over the quote limit, but you know, it kind of makes sense. I know if you go too over the top with it, it looks over the top, you know, like 4 or 5 links. But what about, like, say, 2 profile links and 1 link to your website or blog? Do you think that's okay, or?
I think 2 profile links are fine. I only use 1 because I think it looks cluttered, but that's just me. And I've only got the 1 profile that I use anyway. But yeah, 2 would be fine.
Now, when you say profile, you're talking like when Anne refers to social media linking, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Twitter, Google Plus. What's the other one?
As far as like having your Facebook link in there, or your LinkedIn, or.
I suppose if you had a bit, yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't hide anything for that sort of reason.
You wouldn't say that again, please?
I would not hide any article for too many profile links.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that would not be reasonable.
Yeah, that was I don't put the Twitter on there necessarily because I'm trying to, you know, rake in 10,000 followers or something. But I found it really convenient when I read when I read other people's guest posts and I tweet them. I like to put, you know, by and then put their Twitter, and it's so much more convenient when they have it in their bio.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it makes it easier to, you know, to just follow them and add them on Google Plus. I mean, I think that's really the way to go, is to have a couple profile links.
I like it when you know, some blogs have the whole bio with all the links, so it's like they only have the one in the actual bio text, but then they've got all the other links that have little icons.
That's the preferred way, as I understand it. There should be 1 link in the article body, and the bio should just be kept for the author's links. Not the way it usually is now. You know, Joe Blogs is writing on behalf of abcsinks.com, you know, and that's your link. You know, it's a bit. That link should be there as an anchor text link in the article. But so many bloggers won't allow body links that it becomes an issue.
Now, is that as far as is that something with the client or the person paying the writer, or is that something as far as the publishing blog?
Sorry?
Is that something, do you think, that people run into within, like, for instance, in MyBlogGuest guidelines, the publishing blogs guidelines, or the client that may be hiring them to write an article?
I think there's definitely 3 different sets of rules,
Mm-hmm.
but the MyBlogGuest member is primarily going to go with the guy who's paying him or her.
Right.
And all others, that's why they are members, so that they can post the articles that they're being paid to post. So it's always going to be the guy who's paying the money who has the last say. But I think it's a long-term policy of education that we need to adopt. For example, on my own site, when I have people offering to post now, I say I've adopted Anne's new recommendations, 1 link in the body and a proper author bio link in the bio. And that's it. So that I do my bit to put the word out.
I think people can be reasonable though. I had a bio one time, and I think it was probably just a copy and paste. It was the wrong bio, but it didn't relate at all to the article. I think the article was on relationships, and the link went over to a technology blog. And so I just simply, contacted my blog guest user and said, oh wait, here's the correct bio. So I mean, generally speaking, a nice little PM when it's a my blog guest user through the system. A lot of things can be resolved. I think people are very reasonable, at least people I've worked with.
I agree. Things do go wrong sometimes, but sometimes people they've left it to the last minute, or they're under so much pressure that they just don't bother going for the one-on-one contact.
Mm-hmm.
That they just refuse, because it's easier just to hit the refuse button.
That makes sense. I always think about what's the other person going to think, or what.
Well,
Hey, Gerald, do you take guest posts?
Yes, on our company blog, Search Engine Marketing Group, we accept guest posts. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Of course. Yes, we accept guest posts on the Search Engine Marketing Group blog and also on the My SEO community blog. So we have 2 places you can guest post, SEO and internet marketing related content.
Do you have a separate page then for guidelines?
I sure do, as a matter of fact. I can link that here. Just give me 1 second here. But yeah, I put together a page just for guest blogging guidelines, and I find that saves a lot of time, because people will come and they will say, hey, I want a guest blog. What are your requirements? Sometimes they'll ask, what are your requirements? Sometimes they'll submit a post that I wouldn't even consider for a variety of reasons. It's way too short, or it's off topic, or whatever the case. So I find just linking them to the guest blogging guidelines, and I've put it right here in the chat. It just saves a lot of time. So I don't have to sit here and tell them, well, you need to, every time someone asks me, I don't have to sit here and tell them, well, you need to make sure that you do this, and you need to make sure you do that. And, I just link them to the guidelines, say, hey, take a look at the guidelines. Once you've done that, feel free to submit a post for consideration. Even put a few examples of quality guest posts in the guidelines. So saves a lot of time. And it also makes it easier to reject the post if they do something that doesn't meet the guidelines. You don't have to say, well, it's sort of this or that. You just say, well, yeah, you didn't really meet the guidelines, so, I'm sorry, we're going to have to go ahead and pass this time,
Yeah, have you had people, when you pass, do you have people that go back and look at the guidelines and actually then try to adhere to the guidelines and send the article back in?
Yeah, I mean, you have some people that are like that. Some people will just accept it and move on. Some people will be like, well, let me fix it, or what didn't you like about it? And I guess if I'm willing to reconsider, I guess it just kind of depends on the scenario. If the person is really sincere, and they do actually care about contributing something of quality, and they want to make it better, then I'll usually will reconsider that. If it's a scenario like, say they're link coring and they've got like 3 in-content links going to their projects or something, and it's just kind of like, nah, I'm sorry, man, let's just not do this. Have a good day. I think we're done here.
Yeah.
I think I've had half and half where some will go back on one. It was showing as dupe content. I rejected it, but he rewrote it completely, and I ran it through Copyscape, and it didn't come up as dupe content. So I guess it depends on how bad they want to have that published on your blog, and they'll go that extra mile.
Oh yeah, it was duplicate content. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Did you ask on that? That makes me curious. In that scenario, did you ask him about why is this duplicate content? Was that another article you wrote, or was it something that maybe they just copied? Or
I didn't ask because it looked like it probably was all originating from the same company with different writers. It's like ad slicks. Each paragraph. It was like for internet, for broadband, and it just looked like it was being copied out of their ad slicks.
Oh, okay.
We just lost John, but he'd said something here in the chat. I know you guys can see it. Personally, he feels that links have to be relevant to be in the article, otherwise he rejects it. Oh, good one, Justin. No.
Yeah, I also have about the byline thing we were talking about earlier. Like, I occasionally will have someone will write. They're not in the SEO field, but maybe they're learning SEO or something as a hobby or to help their business, and they might do like, basket weaving widgets or something. I mean, something just completely off, basket weave. I don't even know if there's such a thing as basket weaving widgets, but the point is like something like not even closely related to SEO. It's a completely different industry, and those I tend to, even if the content is good, I tend to reject those just because it just seems a very far stretch. If let me give you an example. Say they're running a limousine company or something. Like, it just doesn't seem to fit a byline linking to something that irrelevant, So, yeah, that would be an example of why I would definitely not accept a post with an irrelevant byline link.
Now you're talking that they're writing an article for a website that's predominantly SEO content, marketing content, so forth. Actually, those are two different topics. But anyway, it's underwater basket weaving, to quote Justin.
Underwater basket weaving.
That was good.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I'll get a guest post submission for our SEO, our company blog, which is SEO Internet Marketing, and they might be something like they might be a limousine company, or they might be some kind of a contractor or something. Something that is, and they'll write an SEO related article, but then the byline will be something that is completely not SEO related, and it's just that doesn't happen like all the time, but it happens here and there. It happens often enough to, mention that as something that I encounter from time to time. It just doesn't make sense to me to have an article written by a general contractor or a limousine company or something on an SEO blog if that's not, what they're trying to promote. If you're a contractor, you might be better off publishing on a home improvement blog or something. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, would it be true that you want to appear like at least some sort of a research expert, at least, if not an expert in the field where you're writing, or at least knowledgeable, maybe not an expert? Hey, Lay, you had a really interesting piece of publicity lately. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, during Black Friday, Kathie, Lee, and Hoda talked about an article on my website, which shocked the hell out of me. I didn't even know it. There was a viewer that seen it and sent me an email asking me some questions. So if they hadn't sent the email, I wouldn't have even known about it. But I was really excited about that because it surprised me that the big guys pay attention to the little guys,
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And that was on, what was it? On what women wear to bed if they wear pajamas or
Yeah,
something?
what your sleep attire says about you.
Okay, that's what it was. It was interesting to hear the hostesses there
Yeah, they were really,
comment on, yes, they really added something.
her and her big goblet of wine, yeah, but it was really cool. It makes me wonder how often that happens, you know?
Well, it sounds like you're dependent on the community, your community letting you know that you've been featured.
Yeah.
Seeing it.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because I didn't even know the person, you know, and I thought it was a joke. I was like, why is this person telling me I was on the Today Show? I'm like, stop kidding around. But I found the video, I sat there, I watched it, and I was like, yeah, right, waiting. And then when it showed up, I was like, oh my God. It didn't really increase hits to the website, but I got like 2 minutes of airtime, so that was good.
Well, I think it must benefit you, you know, just to show that on your website because it did go by fast. I was watching for it, so I saw it up on there. I thought, wow, it really does. I see Dangerous Lee, you know.
I know.
So that was great.
I'm so crazy. I'm really happy about it. So it's going to be at the top of my website for a while. I'm going to take advantage of it for as long as I can.
Dangerously, are you the panties up, skirt down girl?
Yes, I am. That's my book. Your panties up and your skirt down. Yep.
Okay. Because I knew I recognized the name. Yeah, it really rang a bell. I actually had a guest post on your blog the other day. And
Really? Which one?
panties up, skirt down.
No, what was the name of the article?
Answers to common questions about safe sex.
Oh, very good. See, I like safe sex, so yeah, I had to pick that one up.
Yeah. I was just like, when you said your name just a minute ago, I was like, Dangerously, I know that. So yeah, I was just Googling, and I had one of those aha moments. So.
Right. And I like your website too. I dig the whole viral content thing. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been checking that out.
Yeah, I have several articles on there.
Okay, yeah, excellent. So you've been getting a little bit of little shares here and there on some of your content.
Getting some boosts anytime I can increase, you know, hits to my website, especially now, since you know I have ad revenue on the site. That works for me.
Okay, good to hear.
Good. Should I turn off my ad blocker?
No, it's not really bad. There are some sites that, you know, just inundate you with it ridiculously, but not my site.
Good.
I know, don't you hate that?
Hey, I mean, it works.
Yeah, it works for the website owner, but it's not very pleasant for the visitor.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gerald.
I'm sorry if I got us off track there. I was just
No.
Hey, thanks for that, Gerald. Appreciate that.
Like I said, I had one of those aha moments, and she has a very memorable you know, domain too. So that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could. That's kind of a good point. The panties up, skirt down thing. You don't forget something like that. You know what I mean?
Right up your alley, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe the search words that, you know, are highlighted on my site. I'm like, you freaky people. But that's okay. Because, you know, you can find, you know, some things that are very sexy but also educational at the website. So,
Sure.
I mean, that's what the book is about. Keep your panties up and your skirt down. It's erotica, but it's educational erotica. It's safe sex erotica.
I actually skimmed a few of the pages on the sample, so yeah, it looks like a pretty good book.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, but I'm biased.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you can
When
read
did your book come out?
It's been out for 2 years now, so it's about time for me to get cracking on the second book. But, you know, I've been so busy, like, with the Dangerously News and Entertainment Network as a whole keeps me busy, but dangerously.biz is the main site, so that one keeps me very, very busy. It's like I don't have time to write. I'm more of a web publisher now than anything, you know, promoting other people's content. So I love it, but I do want to eventually get a second book out there.
Very good. I know I owe you a few articles on the art column that I sort of
Yeah, I know. Small world, right? It's crazy how we work together at my website, and you're part of my blog guest, where I get, I would say, probably like 90% of my content. So if there was no my blog guest, there wouldn't be a Dangerously That Is, huh?
Excellent testimonial for my blog guest. That's great.
It's
I'm trying to think,
true.
is that how? I think actually I met you through Steve Harrison's email.
Oh, my
Reporter
report
Connection.
See,
Wait, is that
it's
how?
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you responded to one of mine there. And then, yeah, so we crossed paths several times.
Isn't that something?
That is. That is. But yeah, it does. I used to send you articles that I already posted on my site. I know, silly me.
Which is no,
Phil
no,
and
I'm cool
Justin
with
and
that.
Gerald are just like, how can you repost duplicate content?
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Go ahead and throw that on eZine if you're going to do that.
Go ahead and what?
Go ahead and throw that on eZine articles if you're going to go that route.
Yeah.
I'm actually cool with it because I know that it helps to promote your website and what you're doing too. So I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem with reblogging.
That's good, but I wanted to give you original articles, and then when I had to write an additional article, it just threw off my balance. So one of these days. Oh wow! Hello.
What's his name?
That is a cat called Faye. Her name is Faye. Yeah. She tries to jump on my lap when I'm working.
She didn't like that. Her ears were like, no, I don't.
Yeah, because she doesn't usually like to get picked up, but she'll hop on my lap and just let me pet her. So.
Don't you just love cat attitude?
They're easy to deal with.
I love cats.
Yeah.
Why did we get on cats?
You can just put a bunch of food and water in a room and leave them for a couple of weeks and they're fine.
Don't do that.
No, but you can't do that with a dog though.
No, of course not.
So, yeah, makes it a lot easier. Do you have a Skype account? I'm trying to collect everybody's Skype info here.
Yes,
if they have one.
You know, you brought this up on the reblogging. I'm really curious. Does that have adverse effects? I always thought it did as far as the SEO.
I don't know. I guess I don't get too concerned with the SEO part of it. And really, to tell you the truth, I'm not that educated in the SEO part of it. So maybe that's something. If I knew more about it, I'd probably care more about it. But I guess the artist side of me is all about, wanting to help people promote themselves. So the reblogging thing's not a big deal for me.
As far as value, I think it just it filters out a lot of the value. But as far as like it being a serious problem, I mean, when you think about it, all the major news sites do press releases of the same information 100 times over, 1,000 times over. So you don't ever see any of those big sites being adversely affected by content being published over and over and over again. So I think more than anything, it's just the value of it gets kind of filtered out. But as far as the value from the perspective of a visitor coming to the site, I mean, if someone trusts you and you're posting content about someone else, they're obviously going to pay attention to that. So from that side of things, I think it's valuable. But from an SEO side of things, the value kind of diminishes when you're reposting duplicate content like that. So
kind of like if you diluted something. If you have a drink that tastes really good, but you add a bunch of water to it, you might still taste that good taste, but it's diluted.
Okay, yeah.
Ever in her analogies. Very good.
So there's credibility aspects to it for the publishing blog as well as the author, but then there's the potential SEO detraction.
Yeah, I just don't really think it gives much value, but I don't think that it hurts as much as much as people think that it might actually hurt you. It's just out there. I just think it's devalued information.
If you can get more, eyeballs per se, that can lead to additional. In addition to just additional readership, more people looking at your content, it can also lead to more people naturally linking to your content. So that same content being syndicated over and over and over is not going to add more link value per se.
Right.
It will add more value in terms of more eyeballs to your content. Exactly.
Another thing too is, you know, when you're doing content like that, I think that when you do it a lot, it could actually have an effect if you continuously do it that way. But I think, you know, Google kind of is able to read through that and know when it's more or less like a type of press release. But you know, the major sites do it, and you'll find sometimes that when they pull content from like a smaller site, unfortunately they'll rank for those keywords from the content that was already posted from that smaller site, and you're thinking, well, why would they outrank the original site that posted that content, even though they posted that content ahead of time, before that major news site posted it? Well, it just comes down to authority, you know. So Google recognizes that, gives the biggest authority site the advantage, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
Oh, hi, Mara. Anyone want to talk about the publisher authority? I know we've been talking about that in the MyBlogGuest Twitter chats. I get the author authority.
Huh, what's that? Look at me, I'm a dingle. What's that?
Gerald, is that something you have knowledge about?
Well, you know, something that's been talked about a lot recently. But, you know, the thing is, it's, in fact, me and Justin were actually talking about it at lunch earlier. I mean, it's something that's still in its very, its infancy, if you will, infancy, if you will. But, you know, definitely we see that's going to be, it's going to play a major role in some aspects of SEO, you know, moving forward in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's so early that, you know, it's still kind of in this developmental phase. So I guess we're just kind of, you know, we're gearing up for it, and we're kind of anxious to see how it's actually gonna play out in the future, and in terms of you know, author authority, and you know how that affects the authority of content on pages and so forth. I think that it's definitely going to play a major role in determining, you know, down the line the quality, so to speak, when it comes to certain guest authors. But you know, some people say it's going to replace PageRank. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think it's going to be kind of just another metric, and then social signals are probably also going to play a factor in terms of individual author authority. But a lot of this is just speculation. It still remains to be seen because how it's going to unfold, because it's just kind of in its developmental stages. Justin, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I have no thoughts whatsoever.
Yeah.
We were talking about the tag for author, the you know, the REL equals author.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This morning. So this one is REL equals publisher.
Yeah, you're talking about an organization versus an individual author. Basically, that's the difference between those two. You know, a publisher can be an individual, an entity, a website, a company as a whole, whereas author is at the individual author level. Does that make sense?
Yep. It seems like if Google sets that up, what we're watching is usually Google just doesn't do random things. If they're going to set up some kind of tagging, they've got something in mind.
I guess what I was trying to say is it remains to be seen the full impact or gravity that this is going to have, how it's going to play out in the future when it comes to valuing links that come from, say, guest posts and content, and exactly how author authority is gonna weigh in the search results compared to just, say, a random piece of content that, you know, is maybe attached to one author that hasn't really published that much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of question marks about that, you know. So it's really unclear. So we're just kind of waiting to see how it develops and how that unfolds.
I think we're gonna start seeing maybe some pricing changes as far as content that authors create, especially once they realize that their authorship profile within Google has more authority. I think that there's going to be people seeking out specific authors that have that authority, and like Gerald said, there's going to be a lot of factors that are involved with that. Where did they publish articles? Did they publish articles on the New York Times or other websites that have a lot of authority? If so, did they get the credibility for that as being a publisher there or an author? And if so, then what kind of prices are those authors going to command with their future articles?
That makes sense. Almost like building the resume as far as to be able to support their pricing structure.
Yeah, because if Google sees, that this specific author has some serious credibility, that they've posted content on sites which they view as authoritative, I mean, why wouldn't that author also have some authority connected with their profile?
That makes sense. And like you brought up a good point as far as you're not as worried about the SEO part. You're building a community, is that correct?
Yeah, more
so your
than
objective is.
Yeah, and then I mean I'm a starving artist, so I like to support other starving artists too. And I know that we're all about building backlinks and trying to get noticed, so that's why I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. I think it really depends on what your objective is, and it's easy to say, well, everyone's objective should be what's kind of at the top of the news, but that might not be the case. As far as, I don't mean that you don't hit the news, but I'm saying everyone's talking on buzzwords and all the SEO and everything, but maybe that isn't someone's goal. Maybe they want to, and I'm not saying maybe somebody wants a smaller community, for example.
Yeah. I need to learn more about the whole SEO thing, though. I really am interested in it, and I think it would be valuable for me to learn more about it. So I'm going to make it a point to learn a lot more about it.
This cat keeps jumping in my lap.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to laugh and you feel it went right up.
She just doesn't want to leave. I put her down and she keeps jumping up here.
I think your cat wants to get involved in the.
I think so.
Yes, blogging community.
I think so. Let me go ahead and see here.
There we go. You'll have to Skype me your cat's name so I get the spelling right. I'll do a little snapshot in the video.
Yeah, I don't. She didn't have much to say actually.
Hey Phil, how about the reblogging and the whole author aspect publisher with the Google authority?
Hey, I know nothing. I use repostdoes.com as when my site is working. I use repostdoes on all my posts. So I work on the principle that the more people see the posts, the better.
Yeah.
Does anybody else use that?
I've never heard of it, but I'm taking notes over here.
Go for it. We're listening, Phil.
Just repost.us. You can search it for it. It's on the WordPress plugins page. You have to get an API. Is that the right letter? That's the right 3-letter combo. But it's free, and you have to fill in a few boxes. But it's dead simple.
Cool.
So it's kind of like sharing, but it's reposting.
Basically, it copies your. If people do it properly, it embeds your post in their site, complete with all your links.
Like their full post.
Yeah. So if you've got, say, 6 links to other posts, then those 6 links are also transferred. If you follow me. So that people could follow those links. Those links are live, and they can follow those to the original linked posts on your own site. I like it.
Okay. I think this could be okay if it's used like sparingly, but I don't know about filling an entire site this way.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've done a lot of weird things with content, and
You say in general.
Unique article wizard. You know, they used to have a feature where you could allow for other people to post content to your blog, right? I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. So one of the things I used to do was have Unique Article Wizard just completely fill up a blog. I would buy an old domain with a lot of authority to it, had a lot of backlinks, and then I would go ahead and allow people to post, you know, those articles to my blog. Now, obviously, I could outrank a lot of the other sites that were duplicating that content. But what I noticed at a certain point was that a lot of these sites that I filled up this content with had literally gotten de-indexed by Google. So the more duplicate content that you completely fill a site with, it definitely can have an effect on you.
But in Phil's example, he's got the button where you can repost it, and it's more that he doesn't want like one individual going and reposting everything from his site and everything from another site.
Right.
Because it's the resulting, the people that are reposting that will probably have negative effects.
Sure. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because Tumblr kind of has a similar effect as far as reposting, reblogging, you know, they call it. And basically, when you use Tumblr, someone can reblog something that you've already put up. Now, in most cases, you know, you can build up a lot of authority with a Tumblr blog, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I think that in different scenarios and different situations, Google can see, you know, not only the content management system that you're using, but they can also judge based on that content, you know, whether it's deemable to have value or not. I mean, obviously with Tumblr, you have to install Tumblr a specific way, and it actually goes to their name servers and so forth. So I think Google can kind of see that, maybe write that off a little bit. But obviously they give the Tumblr blogs that have the most authority, the most relevancy for ranking for those keywords. You know, and maybe images. If you have a Tumblr blog, that's just purely images.
There is a science to it, huh?
Very interesting.
But yeah, I think like I think Tumblr is one of those things that a lot of people write off, and I really think like it has some good social value to it. And I just think a lot of people kind of associate Tumblr with like you know, dirty type of blogs or websites, and they don't really realize that, you know, Tumblr is actually valid and that it's extremely active, and you can get a pretty quick following on there if you work it properly.
Wow, you speak from experience?
I've had some experience with Tumblr. I've done a few experiments in different niches, and I just queued up a lot of posts, and did solely images really, because I have no interest in creating Tumblr blogs with tons of text content. But what I would do is find images from other locations that were shared, like Pinterest or WeHeartIt.com, and just literally just queue it up for several days and just let it post. And it's amazing. You'll find that a lot of people will follow you if you choose the images correctly, and then not only that, they'll reblog you. So some of the things that I put up would get reblogged, you know, several hundred times, and I had very little of a following. And then slowly, you know, once you have someone that has a really credible Tumblr account reblog you, you'll find that you'll easily get 10, 15 followers, you know, within an hour or two. So
I have a lot of luck with Pinterest. That's where I get a lot of hits from. Not so much Tumblr.
Yeah, Tumblr is one of those things. It's I think it really comes down to the age group. Okay. And with Tumblr, you're dealing with people that are more in the age group, probably from around 15 years old to 25 years old. So it's things that are sparkly, pretty, cute. Those type of things are the images and the activity that you're going to get from those type of people. So.
Okay, you know, that explains a lot as far as age group, because I've seen a lot of high schoolers that say for their career, I mean, they're in high school, And they say blogger at Tumblr. And I thought, wow, okay, they're starting early.
Yeah, it's a really young crowd over there, so you really have to figure out what caters to them, you know, and then kind of go from there. But what's interesting is that if you start a Tumblr blog, you can build up a lot of authority through a Tumblr blog with getting a lot of followers and then getting people reblogging your stuff. You can literally build, I mean, thousands of backlinks within a really short period of time within the Tumblr community from just people reblogging your stuff and resharing your things, you know, and then that kind of passes on through the other social networks. I mean, some of those people also have Twitter accounts and some of those people have Pinterest accounts, you know, so they'll repin those things or retweet those things for you too.
So is that something that some people use Tumblr instead of their own website, or are they trying to feed the traffic back into their website?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people use Tumblr as their own exclusive website. I think a lot of younger people do that, but then other people might install like Tumblr on like a subdomain. So it's like a part of their website, but it's not really on the root level of their domain. So it gives them still that same effect. People on Tumblr are really an interesting crowd. It's you have to just nail the right things for them, and you'll get it reblogged, you know, 100 times, 1,000 times. I mean, I've seen some images that have been reblogged 40, 50,000 times, you know, and that gets a lot of traffic to your site, you know. But obviously, those are other factors that kind of fall in line with how Google's looking at social signals. So I mean, if Tumblr is one of those potential signals, you know, why wouldn't you use it, you know?
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining the MyBlogGuest Hangout. We're going to really try to, Light came in, yeah, I was going to ask you about the contest. If you don't mind coming back in January, I would love to talk some more about the MyBlogGuest contest, because I know you got at least an honorable mention on headlines. We'd like to talk about that.
I got $100.
Oh, there you go, you're a contest winner. So please,
Nice.
January. And we're asking some other people to join us, and also we're going to ask for some testimonials. So, Justin, if you want to bring Faye up, and is it she or he?
She.
Do a testimonial for. She wants to give a testimonial for MyBlogGuest. You can send it in, and we'll put together a video. So we'll announce that in the article.
Sure.
So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the MyBlogGuest community. And the Twitter chat's on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the last Friday of January 2013 already, on the MyBlogGuest Google Plus Hangout on Air.
All right.
Right.
Thanks a lot, guys. Y'all have a good afternoon. Phil, what time is it over there?
Half 20 to 10.
Have it. Okay. Have a good
sleep.
Yeah, have a good sleep. There you go. All right, you guys.
Thanks, Justin, Gerald, Lee.
Take care. We'll see you all.
Bye, Deborah. See you, Phil. See you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.